Hi, everyone. Okay, so let's continue working with the Samuel Pell return. But all of our information has already been filled in, as you know, from the last video, and you can see that the balance or refund that is due to Samuel Pell based on his 2022 tax return information is $2,330.38. Okay, so what I'm actually going to do right now is just play around with it to show you some of the intricacies and the tips and tricks with using the profile software. So this has nothing to do with the actual Samuel Pell's tax return, but just to give you the option to learn more about the profile software. Okay, so if we went over to the T1, actually let's go to the T4. You know that we've put in the information here for Samuel's T4. We took all of this information off of the paper T4 that you were provided, and some of the information, like the insurable earnings and the pensionable earnings, were filled in automatically. Okay, so let's go back over to the T1. So what would have happened if I had have, instead of doing the right click on the arrow and going to the T4 as it takes us, what if I had tried to put in 70? See what happened? It's going red and it's got that red diamond shape. So what you would do, because we've got to get rid of that because it's telling us that we did something wrong. Okay, we didn't put the information in the right spot. So again, if we right click on that, see here, it's saying override. So if we click there, it's now gone. Okay, and that's because it's taking the information from the T4. Okay, so if we come back over here, let's say that they have other employment income, like one of our individuals, I think it was Sue Brown, had some tips. So what if we try to put, see, same thing's happening. So we know that we don't put the information on there. We see the up arrow and we see the red diamond. So we click, right click, clear out the override. It's bringing it back down to 0. Click on the up arrow or the little triangle and then see it there. It's showing us other income. So we click on the other income. So now it's taking us to the line that's giving us all kinds of details. So this is telling us all the different information that may go in that other employment income line. And right here, the first one, tips not included on slips. Okay, and you see there's no up arrow, so you know that's the place to put it. Employment income not reported on slips, there is an up arrow there, so there must be a different place to put it. Okay, so what we're doing right now is the tips. So let's say 2,000, come over, see it opened up here, other income. So let's go back to the T1 and see it's put the 2,000 there. Okay, so let's continue to scroll down. Again, there's no pension because there was nothing on Samuel Pell's T4 to show us that there was a pension or a pension adjustment. But what if Samuel Pell had moving expenses and it says complete form T1M? Again, there's that up arrow. So we click T1M, we can go to that. See, now it's opened it above. I actually put a little bit of information in here. Okay, so if we come down here, so simplified and detail. So number of household members, so we'll just say 1. Method of travel, we'll say car. Number of kilometers is 90, and then travel expense per receipt. So one that we had looked at was 25. Okay, so by us putting that in there and the number of kilometers there, right now we've got it on the simplified method. So it's doing the 0.595 multiplied by the 90 kilometers. But look what happens if we click it and go detailed. Now it takes the $25 over. Okay. Number of meals, we had 2. And I think the meal receipts were $27.50. Okay, so now detailed method for meals. It is giving, oh, sorry, simplified method. Because we're telling it that we had 2 meals, it's taken over the $46. But if we click here to go detailed, then it takes the $27.50 over. Okay, so that's what's going on there. So that's how you'd fill that out. Okay, so let's go back over to the T1. And again, this is just information. What else do we want? So this is where it's doing the federal tax. Canada employment amount, it's doing it automatically. Oh, look here, tuition. Transfer among child or grandchild or your tuition. Okay, so let's click on that, go up arrow. It brings us to the T2202. So this is where you take the information directly from the T2202, let's say NSCC, King's Tech. Okay, again, it's doing the yellow, but that's because we haven't filled in all the information yet. So let's say 1800, let's say, oh, we want 4 months full time. Okay, so we've got that information in there. So let's go back to the T1. Okay, so it's filled in 1800, but we don't know from where. So we want to go to the S11. See, now S11 is showing, and the reason the S11 is showing is because it's filled in the T2202 information. So we can click on the S11, and it's showing here, number 1, we have no carry forward. And so this one here, your Canada training limit from latest notice of assessment. Okay, so now you might ask, okay, well, why is it telling us now that it wants some information? Okay, but if you remember, if we go back to the info for Samuel Pell, he's 50. And if you remember, the Canada tax credit, as we've talked about a couple of times, is you have to be 26 years of age and under 65, I think. Okay, and then for this one here, it says enter the amount from line 26 of your return. If it is under 50,197. If it's more, then you need to enter the result of the following calculation, the amount from line 74 of your return. Okay, so that's why it has calculated the 79,365.07. Okay, and then it's telling us if your taxable income exceeds the first bracket, then this amount is calculated by taking the tax on the taxable income divided by the lowest tax rate, which is here. Okay, so that's what it's telling us. Okay, so we can come over to the T1 and see that. See right here. Okay, so one thing about Profile is it does try to walk you step by step through everything that you are doing. Okay, and then down here, it tells us how much is unused, but the one that we're using here, they need all of this. Okay, so the federal one, or sorry, the provincial one, we'll go back over here to the NS 428. And again, be reminded that I'm just showing you little things that are going on. This is not part of Samuel's actual tax return. This is just to introduce you to the information that Profile can do. Okay, so we are scrolling up for the NS 428, and what we are looking for is tuition. And look, it's automatically filled in 2600 because it's already done that in the background because of the T2202. But again, if we have a look at the up arrow, it's going to take us to the NSS11. Okay, so it wants us to investigate. It wants us to go and make sure that all of the information that it has calculated is correct. Okay. So it is the same calculation here. If your income falls in a higher tax bracket than just the lower one, and ours does because it falls into the third tax bracket, then it needs to take the information um, from line 8 of your NS 428. So line 8, this 985, and it's going to divide it by the lowest tax bracket, and then it's going to give you the 103. Okay, but it does that automatically for you, and it carries over the 2600 over to the T1. And then if this was the actual tax return, then this would be the return or the refund that Samuel would have. But as I mentioned, um, the the moving is fake, so I'm going to leave the information in there. But maybe I don't want to leave this page open when I open this tax file. I want it to go away. I want it to close. So then I would click Forms and Close Form. And if I wanted to close other income, I'd go Form, Close Form. But what if I wanted to open something? So let's close the S8 form, close. Okay, I want to click on this plus sign saying that I want to add something to the list up here. And we have a whole bunch of options here on the side. Okay, and sometimes it takes a bit to find the form that you're looking for. So slips, this is where all your T slips are, and a few others. Identification, this is where we can input information about a dependent, and we will get into that. We've got income, and it gives us a list of all the different types of income and forms that you might need. We've got deductions, and if you look here, moving expenses. So say we want to reopen the moving expenses, we click on that, and then it's added it back to the top. All right, I am going to end this here. But again, remember, if you have a diamond, so say I change that to 19,000, we've got that diamond, right click, click override, and it brings it back to the original amount that should be there. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks, everyone.